pass rushers that they have?
Absolutely. Every week, I mean, that was the one thing, one of the things, there you go, there's an answer to whatever question coming out of the open date. We didn't give up any sacks, and our running backs, did a great job, of that and helping us. We threw it 33 times, so, I think we had 4.5 sacks by our running backs and 4.5 by the quarterbacks, and I think only 4 by our offensive line all year. So it was an area we needed to improve on. And we did that. So, yeah, I mean, it's an emphasis every single week. But they did a good job last week, everybody being on the same page. And certainly this week, they're not a big pressure team. They haven't really had to be with them dogs they got up front. They can create pressure with them 4 guys they got. They're really good football players. And third down, they have been a little bit more blitz oriented, but those backs have got to continue to progress for us this second half.
When you were hired, Dabo, did you envision the program getting to this point someday, or did that kind of evolve over the first few years?
No, I envisioned it from day one. I mean, I've never done something and said, well, I just hope I can be mediocre. That's never been a mindset for me, ever. Anything I've ever done. I've always had a vision to be the best I can be. And, I felt like when I got this job that Clemson had the opportunity to be a great program. And we just had to fix a few things and just get the right pieces in place and bring everybody together, and I think we've been able to do that. But absolutely, yeah. I mean, day one, that was one of my very first things I told the board is, hey, I want Clemson to become a model program. I don't want to be like anybody else. I want to be Clemson, and maybe one day we'll look up and other people might want to be like Clemson. Instead of us worrying about other people, let's just be great where we are. And so, yeah, that vision was from day one.
Best is the standard is the saying that's plastered across this building and everywhere. While that saying is pretty self-explanatory, what does that mean to you?
Well, it's just, again, sometimes people may take that the wrong way. That's why you don't see win a national championship up there. That's nowhere, anywhere. It's never been a goal. That's not our goal. Our goal is to be the best we can be. And so when you talk about being the best, all right, well, now it's in comparison to somebody else. And that's not what we want to be. Our best. So now it's being the best version of you. It just whatever God gave you, just the best you can possibly be. And that's a different way of looking at best as the standard. And so and that applies in every area, whether it's from a university standpoint, the best coach you can be, the best player you can be. Maybe you're a walk-on. You're probably never going to be the starter. But, man, just be the best that you can be in everything that you do. And that's kind of what All In is about. It's about a commitment to be the best you can be on and off the field in everything you do. And collectively, if we're committed to that, then that's what we're going to get. And you can live with any results that you get if you have a group of people that are truly committed to being their best. Again, not the best. When you're trying to be the best, then that's in comparison to other people. And that's not what we want to do. We just want to be the best we can be every single day. And so that's what it's about. So it's your effort, it's your preparation, it's your work ethic, it's your attitude. It's just, again, all the things that you control and all the things that are relevant to you being your best. Your sleep, your nutrition, you think, what you do when nobody's watching, everything applies to that. So it's a very holistic It's a simple comment, but it encompasses a lot.
Yeah, but when you're not a go-go tempo team like Syracuse or somebody, how much of the challenge is go with when to back it down, when to push it, and sort of complement your defense and all that?
Yeah, I mean, we're not Syracuse, but we want to push the tempo. You know, we feel like that's when we're at our best, when we can push the tempo, attack, play with great rhythm, and really kind of dictate the pace. You know, that's what we want to do. But sometimes, I mean, you have to you know, you may be playing certain defenses that you might want to slow it down on a little bit, just maybe their style of play, or sometimes it's what's going on with your defense. You know, we haven't had a lot of issues around here with that from that mindset standpoint. I mean, we hadn't really worried about our defense a whole lot. You know, if we go 3 and out, we punt it and go play defense. So we don't really spend a whole lot of time worrying about it. I mean, but when you peel it all back, we want to play with tempo. Like I said, we're not. There are times when we will play with that Syracuse pace. But for the most part, we're a little notch below that. You know, kind of a up-tempo team, but you know, not always in that fire mode, because there's certain things that we feel like we have the ability to do, so we'll slow it down just a little.
Dexter Lawrence was a little sore. You said, is he doing okay, and you expect him to be fine?
Yeah.
In the same vein as what you were just saying, how much does having these elite defenses you have this year and the past few years affect what you call offensively, and maybe even open up the playbook to what you're willing to call offensively?
I mean, it affects it a lot. I think that's with every team out there. I mean, you know, if you want to be a good team, I think that you always have to, you know, kind of play to your strengths and protect your weaknesses a little bit to give yourself the best chance to win, you know, week in and week out. And so there's been certain games where, man, things have happened and we've gotten pretty good leads on teams, and so you're like, well, dang, I'd really like to do some of this, but, you know, all you can do is really kind of screw it up, you know. I mean, you've pretty much got the game won, so sometimes you might play a little more conservative. Other times you're in a tough matchup and you know your defense is going to really have their hands full, and you might be a little more aggressive. You know, so it just you got to pay attention to the game and what's going on when you get in certain situations. Sometimes, you know, crazy things happen. You may get out to a big lead early, and so, you know, you might change your plan a little bit and just, you know, let's just play smart and take, you know, nothing wrong with punting the ball. We got a defense that they can't move the ball on, and they're going to screw it up. They're going to turn it over. They're going to give us a short field, you know. So I think those are always things as a coach that you're, you know, evaluating, and you just got to be cognizant of as you go through the flow of a game.
Coach, last week, Alex Spence was able to convert on the field goal that you guys put him out there. And how's he responded since the kicking game was opened up, as you opened up the kick game?
Well, he's responded in that he's competed his tail off, and he kept the job. That's why he went out there first, all the way through pregame. I mean, literally, they brought me pregame the stats after the kicks. I think they were all 6 for 6, and one was 5 for 5, all the way through pregame, all the way through. And so we just cleaned the slate, started over, brought another kid in, said, all right, we're not going to do anything but make layups, and if you can't make a layup, you ain't playing. So, you know, I mean, I don't know how else to. So let's go, and we gave him all the same kicks, and he came out on top. He didn't win the job for life. He won the job for the week, and you know, that's just where we are. You know, it's a week-to-week basis around here. Kind of like me, you know, lose a couple games around here, they run you off quick. So everybody's week to week.
That looked to be about as excited as you've been about a made field goal outside of maybe a game winner or a late game tie.
No question. And you know what? I was excited, but I was happy for him. I was so happy for Alex. I mean, you know, just because I know he can do it. I've seen him do it. I mean, the kid's got really very good talent. I mean, he can kick it, man. it just kind of wasn't showing up for him. And then you go out there and it's, bless his heart, it's a dang monsoon, of all things. And now he's got to go kick a field goal. And the snap's high and inside, I think on that first extra point or whatever. But, he just did a good job of hitting it. He needed it. I mean, we all needed it. And I was happy for him, too, because he just had a great couple weeks of practice. It finished up Wednesday and Thursday, just really, really strong. And, just good to see him go have the success on the field. And now he's just got to build some consistency in that. Because at the end of the day, it's pretty easy. It either goes through the pipes or it doesn't. And, it's a tough position to play. It really is. And so I was very happy for him. He needed that. We certainly needed that. And hopefully that's a good boost of momentum for him the rest of the way. But, they're going to, like I said, we're going to keep charting every day, every week. And from when we started from scratch, and also on a weekly basis, and just kind of keep creating that pressure in practice the best we can. So hopefully when they get to game day, it's easier.
How do you create that pressure in practice?
Well, they all know every kick matters, and then we're making them compete, and we're making them compete in front of their teammates, and sometimes that's harder to do than going out on game day, and kicking. So that's really all you can do.
You're a history guy. What's it mean to you to be kind of in the ranks there with Coach Howard and Coach Ford now, where you're at Victories?
It's awesome. It's special. Because if you'd told me 9 years ago, I've been the head coach. It was 9 years in October, and so to be where we are, that's a dream come true. You always dream about getting a job, and you have a vision for being successful. I never had a vision for getting a job for 3 or 4 years and getting fired. That was never my plan, and so to be here 9 years later and Coach Ford and Coach Howard and their success here is well documented. I think it's kind of weird that we all have 96 wins as ACC coaches. That's the strangest stat ever. I just want to get to 97. That's something neither one of them did. So if I can just get to 97, we'll be doing good. So hopefully I can be around here a little longer. But it's great.
You mentioned that critical mistakes, what did NC State and their 2 losses? What did Notre Dame and South Carolina do to help bring those about? And how important is it that you guys to play a clean game come Saturday?
Well, the South Carolina game early in the year, there's a lot of emotion in the game. First game, that's and they just put the ball on the ground. South Carolina did a good job of stripping it, ripping it, and they made some bad decisions. And then the Notre Dame game, probably the play of the game was, they jumped offside, and it looked like he was offside, but it didn't. They didn't get the call, and so the quarterback just threw one up because this quarterback don't make many mistakes now. He takes care of the ball, but he just kind of throws one up because he thought he had the call, and kid picks it and just walks into the end zone. That was the critical mistake, and so that was just kind of a fluky deal, and the refs have the best view, on tape. I can see why the quarterback did it. In his mind, he felt clearly like the guy had jumped, and the refs must have felt like he just got back, but so he just throws it up very carelessly, which you would never do in any other situation, and that was a critical error in the game, and then it has special teams play as well.
I would say he played probably 15 to 20 snaps at defensive end against Georgia Tech. Was that just something with their scheme, or is there a chance he could help out some there?
No, it's definitely just the scheme we were playing. He's our starting backer, but we're in pretty good shape at the end there. But he, just the style of play, his style of play, and you want to get as many of them dudes on the field as you can against a team like that. But he just stood up. He just A lot of times linebackers will go up and stand up on the line and things like that. That's all he did.
It's nice to have that kind of versatility with him, though. Where he can
Yeah, absolutely. We did a lot of that with B.J. Goodson, when B.J. was here. We'd walk him up on the line, when we played Georgia Tech and some other teams, and just stand him up. He's big enough and strong enough to be able to play up there on the edge.
Coach, how much would it?
Interesting does formationally how multiple they are, and given some of the issues last year in coverage, is there a different messaging or a different utility for like Dorian, the safeties, guys like that in coverage? Does anything change this week for you?
Well, what changes this week is you're playing an elite quarterback. In that this kid, he's got all the tools. You give him things pre-snap, he's going to take them. He knows how to process things post-snap, and then they just give him all the tools to help create good leverage and tips. Whether it's, they very rarely, like I said, very rarely run a play without some type of motion or shift. And there's, most of the time you don't just do that stuff to just do it. There's a reason. You're trying to get a tip on coverage. You're trying to get a tip on a blitz. And when you can get tips and you have a very smart player that can process things like that, like this quarterback, then you're just trying to give yourself the best opportunity to be successful. So it is a challenge because we got to line up right. There's a lot of communication against a team like this, especially at safety. This is a big challenge. And then the ball's in the air, so Dorian has to do a little bit of everything. He's got to be supporting and physical in the run game. He's got to cover in the game. And there's a lot going on in this passing game. He's got to make plays on the ball in the air because it's going to be in the air. You can just bet on that. This ball is going down the field. So, we got to win those matchups. Last time out with a game like this, we didn't win the matchups. We just didn't. And we did a poor job on third down and didn't win some of the competitive plays up at Syracuse. And be similar in that regard in that there's going to be a lot of those competitive plays. But they do a really good job of different launch points, for the quarterback, climb routes, fade balls, tied it in with the screen game and the crossers and the slants, the RPOs. So it's a challenge. They're really good. That's why they are who they are, and they're smart. They got all these veteran guys. They're really smart players.
Against a quarterback like that, is it more important to disguise coverage and confuse him, or do you just want to be good at your base and win a matchup?
Well, you better know what you're doing first of all, and you got at some point you got to win your matchups. But yeah, absolutely, you want to try to do as much as you can to mix it up, because if he's one of them guys. If you just give him the same pitch over and over and over, you're going to hit it. You're a baseball guy, right? And so I don't care if that ball's coming 95. If you know it's coming 95, you're probably going to hit it eventually. If you know what's coming. And so we definitely don't want to just, tip our hat all the time. We want to make sure that we mix things up and that we're diverse and multiple with our fronts and coverages. And, we've done a pretty good job of that around here.
Coach, what Deshaun's doing in the NFL comes as no surprise to you. How often do you communicate with him, and how much would having a Rookie of the Year quarterback do for the brand of Clemson, or would it be a marginal enhancement at this point?
Well, I don't know what it does for Clemson, other than just we take a lot of pride in what our alumni do, whether they're going to the NFL or they go solve cancer. We just take pride in all of our graduates and what they go on and do. But really proud of Deshaun, communicate with him. Text him, the other night. I know it was a tough loss, but he put his team in position to win, but he'll be the first one to look at mistakes he made and want to go get better. But just proud of him. He's just doing exactly what he's always done. There's nothing any different. He's not any different now than he was at Gainesville High, at Clemson, and now with the Texans. He's just a unbelievable competitor, and just has such great command and poise. He's an excellent leader, makes everybody else around him better. But that just, again, always goes back to his preparation, something we've talked about, something we've seen here. But just really happy for him. I mean, I'm proud of him. It's pretty special. And, you know, I mean, if something like that happens, first of all, just happy for him because he's put the work in. And you know, I just, again, think it says that, I mean, from Clemson's standpoint, I mean, you can do anything here, whether it's a quarterback, receiver, an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, a linebacker, whatever position. We got a little bit of everything, and more to come at that level.
The last 2 years, you guys have not been out of the top 4 in each of the playoff rankings once they started. So you kind of controlled your own destiny. If you're not in the top 4 tonight when it comes out, how will you look at that moving forward? Any difference in how you look at it last 2 years?
It's zero. I mean, they could have us 10th. It just doesn't matter. I mean, it just really doesn't matter. I mean, if they have us 2nd and we get our butt beat this week, well, it don't matter. If they have us 10th, but yet we win out, we'll be where we need to be. I think we've played a pretty good schedule. We've played a lot of teams that have won a bunch of games, and a lot of teams that have been in position to win some others, some very competitive teams. So, you know, I mean, we just got to take care of business. I mean, it's that simple. It just doesn't matter. If you win, I think, and all said and done, you'll have an opportunity whenever the last poll comes out. That's the one that matters, and that's when you can really get a real answer to that question as far as, you know, how I would feel or how I view it. Right now, it just is irrelevant. I know it's matters to the fans and all that stuff, but it is so irrelevant to what's going to happen in Raleigh this weekend. It just doesn't matter.
Anything else?